So, hello, my name is Jacob. I am also iOS developer here in STRV. Sorry, can you hear me? Good. Uh, my presentation is and workshop is named "The Things You Hate but Save Your Ass." I think most of developers are hating tests because it's weird and it's boring and it's not anything new what you are creating. But I think it's really helpful also if you have big application. So I would like to ask you who here is creating, for example, unit tests? Oh, 5 guys, more than in Brno. And integration tests? 1. Nice. So, as I said, I am iOS engineer, and I am working on the biggest project here in STRV. It's named Class Dojo. It's application for education, so we are creating apps for teachers, parents, and students. Some amazing features about Class Dojo are that we are supporting iPhone and iPad. It's standard today. We are still supporting iOS 7, 8, 9, of course. And we are doing that only in 2 people. We are writing in Objective-C. I don't like Swift, sorry. But we have tests in Swift. And we are not using storyboards. What's more, we are not using nib files. We are creating everything programmatically. Like, OK, from March, we are using nibs for cells only. But everything else is programmatically and without some interface builder or anything. Maybe that's the reason, of course, together with tests, why we have 99.8 crash-free percentage. And it's with more than 1 million users every day active. So we have more than 60 million users together. And most of them are using the application like every day. So yeah, 1 million users every day are using this. And we have this amazing crash-free. I'm sure that we wouldn't have it like without the tests. So that's the reason why I'm right now here and why I'm talking about it. I would like to tell you something about our development process. We are starting with Trello. I think most of you are using that also. So you choose one ticket and you start developing the feature. When you are done, you are not merging that to master, but you need to create the tests. Integration tests, unit tests, it depends on the feature. After this, you create pull request, and the other guy, Jarda, with me, will review that. Yeah, Jarda and Jacob. Will review that, and if it's OK for him, you can merge it to master. In this moment, we have build machine with Jenkins. It detects new commit, and it starts testing. First are unit tests, second integration test, and if everything is OK, it starts creating internal beta build. This build is going to Hockey App and released to our CD tester. Our CD tester is, I think, in India. And he's testing that on real devices. Sorry, I don't know his name, so it's CD tester. If everything is OK, we are releasing this version once per week to our beta group with about 3,000 teachers. And after 1 week, we have a 2-week development process. We are releasing that to App Store. I'm happy that Apple is submitting or approving apps in less than 1 day now. So we can release anything, anywhere, anytime. So let's start with unit tests, because 5 people here are using that. Yeah. Unit tests are not so famous, but more than integration tests. And why you should use that? Because you need to make sure that everything works, of course. What you can create unit tests for methods, functions, properties, it depends on you. You can write for anything, for controller. But we are using, Alan was talking about it, MVVM, view models for everything. And I think you should use that also because, as Alan said, it's way more testable and much better to like have everything optimized. So view models works like magic. Trust me. This is like picture. Alan had the same, I think. So we can start with some code. I have here. Ah, I think it's not visible. Sorry. Better? Yeah. Imagine that you have some manage object. For me, it's CDK user. The user is object with some properties like username, password, first name. It's not important, and you create a view model for this. So because you want to have first name, last name, or anything in cell, so you create view model which takes all of this data from the manage object, and it's used instead of the manage object because it can change and it's dangerous to use it directly. So you start with initialization, and you unpack all of these properties. Be careful. So test everything if it exists or not, and don't return nil values or null values. It's better to return empty string. It's much safer. When you create the view model, you can create tests for that. So for example, I have here 3 mockups. Teacher, parent, student. So, and here are 3 tests. For tests, we are using XC test. It's something from Xcode from Apple. And we are testing first initialization. If it's OK and it's not nil, everything works. And you can try the second test for the teacher, then for the parent. Here is also some change that you create view model, test it, then change the object, create view model again, and test it again. So let's try this. ClassDojo is a really big application, I think, but we are not using Viper. So it takes some time, even on this computer, so sorry. Just give me a few seconds. So, okay, initialization is okay. So let's try all of these 3 tests. It's good to test everything like slowly, not write the whole test, because if something went wrong on the beginning, it's dangerous to write other tests because it's wasting of time. Okay, tests are good. Let's try student. Student has one difference against CDK parent or teacher. If you open the CDK teacher, for example, there is title. Parent has also title here. But student is without the title. We are not expecting that they are so old. So the view model is expecting title also. And I think our tests will crash right now. Let's try that. Yeah, let's try that. As you can see, I don't have anything different on the student because it's the same like for the first name, last name. I'm not repeating these values. I'm testing just username because in the view model there is some switch that the username is different for teacher, parent, and student. And that's also a good case why you should use view models, because the same value can have different. Well, why I'm testing everything. So our tests are failing right now. Why? Because we don't know what is title on the CDK student. I think most of you know about this. Do something. This is a great way how to test if some managed object has some property or not. So now our test will be like good. And I would like to say that for most of the tests, you need only assert equal, not nil or nil. And it's like just to be sure that everything works, because of this title, for example. Yeah, now tests are okay and succeeded. So let's start with the most famous part, integration tests. Why you should use integration tests? Do you know? Because you need to make sure that everything works. And imagine the situation when you create some controller, for example, on the beginning of creating application with alert, your custom alert, not the system one. Then after 1 year, you are using that on a lot of controllers, your application is bigger and bigger, and then you decide to redesign this alert. You will redesign that, you will add some button or anything, and you need to know that it works on all of these controllers. So you have unit tests, integration tests for this, and if something is wrong, you know that, because, for example, on one controller you can dismiss that by tapping outside of the alert, and on some controllers not. And for these cases are the integration tests. You are not testing like if it works and if they are data or anything. No. So for integration tests, you have like more options, but I will talk about 2 of them. Keep, like keep it functional. It's library from GitHub. We are using this because we are supporting iOS 7. And since Xcode 7, you have option to XC test from Apple. But it's only for iOS 7 and higher, and it doesn't work. Just simply doesn't. I will show you. I think you heard about that, or you was like watching that on WWDC, but let's try this. So first I have here Lister. I think you heard about this. It's sample application from Apple when you can test everything like WatchKit, WatchUp, OS X, anything. So we have here example test that you created, and if you want to, like, I will show you the application, I hope. Yeah, it's a really simple application from Apple. It's only a list. Then you can use it's like Notes. So let's start with tests from Apple, XC tests. If you want to write some test, you don't have to write anything, and it works like magic, but it doesn't work. So you just click to record. The app starts, and it's recording all of your taps and clicks in the application. So if you click on today, it records. If you click buy milk, then edit, again, remove, delete, done. Okay, it's here. Let's try this, if it works. It somehow works, but it didn't do what we are expecting. So let's start with our example. I have Swift application here, I think. Just create storyboard with navigation controller, one controller, and second controller. Okay, let's remove that. Just with navigation controller. Add your controller, make it root, add some button. Constrain that. If you want, you can follow me with your own MacBook. And I will show you some magic with switch. just disable the button, make it off, add some constraints. Okay, and connect it to our view controller. Like, okay, it's our switch, it's our button, and we have some action for the switch, I think. Yeah. So if you start the application, it doesn't do anything right now. Just add some view controller and add some method to push. Good. When you start the application, it should show you disabled switch, disabled button, and you can right now enable the button and push there. So let's try the test from Apple. I have some example here. Okay, not now. Yeah. You saw that it works for the application from Apple, but do you think it will work here? I don't think so. Again, it recorded some code on my tapping and anything. But if you start it, you'll find that the switch is not doing anything, even if there is method tap. Why? I don't know. Maybe because the switch is not tappable, but switchable. So yeah, it does nothing. So that's it. These are tests from Apple. It doesn't work, so you can't use that for bigger application than just clicking on the SysNum. Even worse, it's for Objective-C. It doesn't work at all. You can't click, you can't tap, you can't do anything. So that's the reason, and also because we are using old iOS SDK, why we are using KIF. And I have some example test here. So KIF is library with some methods which are helping you to tap or find some objects. How? By accessibility labels. Are you using that? Someone? Somebody? One, please. Okay, two guys. You should use it. You should use that every time, everywhere, and everyone. If you want to create like functional application for everyone, you have to write accessibility label everywhere. Because imagine the situation that you can't, for example, see anything in the application. You have problems with your eyes or anything. And you can't use it because you don't know what is what. But with accessibility label and voiceover, you can use it by swiping, and you can try it in your iPhone. So KIF works only with accessibility labels. Here is, for example, method wait for view with accessibility. It finds and it simulates the tap. The accessibility label in our in ClassDojo are the same labels like normal. We are using localizations for everything because we are like everywhere on the world, not only in America. And we have some our own methods which are doing the same for everything. So if you have some method written more than once, do it like public for everything. It's good for you. So basically, this code is just doing the same like Apple test, but it works because if you have accessibility labels, of course, because it's tested like last 5 years. So I will show you integration tests in ClassDojo with this. Oh, let's wait. I will show you unit tests first, because we have more tests than other applications in STRV. We have files. I was testing that before, so just don't see the green. all of our tests are testing all properties. Like, for example, I don't know, where is some view model? If one view model has 5 properties, we have 5 tests in that test. So it's like really big project alone, standalone. Okay, all unit tests works. So let's try integration test, but for this I need to run my local API. For unit tests shouldn't be like connecting to server. Everything should be only offline, because if you mess your database on the server, you will be fucked up. But integration tests are running with real data, in our case on a local API on our devices. So not on real data, but and they are using, sorry. Yeah, so it works only on simulator, not real devices, because you don't have provisioning profiles or anything for device for tests. Your device is not able to run it. And it's like really slow because you are tapping through the application, but it's really nice go through for you if you don't know what is it. So for example, yeah, this one. On the bottom of the screen, you can see that there is a local API, and after every test, it's resetting fixtures because you need to log out and log in and clear a session and tokens and everything. So again, it's only one method like called every time. Here you can see that there is method before all and before each. It's override of the Apple methods integrated in Xcode. In Brno, one guy had a really good question, what I think about time estimations of the tests. If you are creating that like me or like us, together with the feature, it's like 25% of your time. But if you are creating a whole test or like all tests for application which is already done, it will take 200% of the time. Because you don't remember the functions, you don't remember the name of the properties or anything. So if you are doing a time estimation for the client, and for example the application takes 2 months, so you will tell him not 4 like twice, but for example 5, because you will count the 1 month for the tests. You don't have to do, but you should, because it's like your visit, not visit. It's like you are showing that you are a good developer and you are using tests just because you want to be sure that everything works, even if the client won't have them in the application. So yeah, all tests are passing right now. You already saw that it takes a really long time, and we have integration tests right now enabled only for logging. So imagine the situation when you want to test a whole application. It takes hours, for example. And these tests are running after every merge to master. So, any questions? Yeah? It's not about the time of the animations or speed, but you need to wait for the API, for the request, and for everything. So if one animation like push controller takes 0.3 second, it's nothing for you. But for example, you need to wait when the UI loads on iPhone 5, iPhone 4 for us. We are supporting iOS 7. So imagine the situation that your, for example, unit tests also are running on iPhone 6s great, but you have some NS number not strong but assign, and iPhone 4 is with ARC is like dropping that. So it will be crashing only on the iPhone 4. So your Jenkins or tests should be running on all of the devices which you are supporting. And the same for integration tests, not only on one simulator, but on all. And if you will like minimize the time of the animation, it's nothing for iPhone 4 because the communication is really long and it takes like 3 seconds, for example. Yeah, we didn't try that because Jenkins is testing that like on the real situations, and most of the users don't have disabled that. And it's not hurting to me if the animations are there. I'm not waiting here, like now, for example. But yeah, good idea. Thanks. Other questions? I saw that someone there. Ah, okay. And also there is, for example, method to wait 2 seconds and then scroll down because you need to like somehow scroll on the bigger, on the smaller screens, and you need to wait for the layout on older devices. So there is, for example, wait 2 seconds, then scroll, then wait, then click. And this is much slower than the animations. Okay, so thank you.